another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio, and remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? This is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from West Bexar County. My name is Mike Jimenez. Joe Garcia has the day off yet again. We hope to get him back on Monday. Hope to be back in the studio on Monday because I miss Joe so much. For those of you who don't know, Joe is the co-creator of the show, also our producer and co-host. He has a new job with the Department of Homeland Security, and he has been in training the past 2.5 weeks. Training wraps up on Friday. We hope to get him back on Monday, be back to the way that we normally are in the studio with better acoustics, with better microphones and things like that. So we're looking forward to that. I want to apologize for not having a show yesterday. Had no idea that was going to happen. I would have had a guest host had I known that was going to happen. I went to go to the dentist yesterday. I was going to have a cleaning, right? I was going to clean it at 8:15 in the morning, be done by 9:15, be back in time to do the show here at 10 o'clock. And instead, they're like, Michael, you need a procedure done ASAP. And for those of you who've ever had this, it's called a scaling or a deep cleaning. They basically pull your gums back a little bit in certain areas and they clean under your gums. That's what I had done. My mouth was numb till 3 p.m. yesterday, and they want me to go back tomorrow for the second half of my mouth. So I was going to post a photo of myself being all numbed up, but knowing the Photoshops that would have been done, I had to stop. And I know you guys already made fun of the one that I did already with the Terminator, I'll be back. But it's a great day here in San Antonio. It is hump day. My name's Mike Jimenez. Lost pound number 20. I'm wearing this shirt. I've never worn this shirt before. I got this shirt at the Golf Club of Texas about a year ago. And I remember they gave it to me. They were like, it was back on the San Antonio Sports Star days, and we were doing an event over there, and they gave me a polo, right? They actually gave me two. One of them fit. One of them didn't. The reason why one fit and one didn't was because one was double XL. The other was just single XL, right? Look at this. I've gone from double XL to just plain old XL. I'll never be just large, though, okay? Never be large, but I've been working out a lot, dude. Lifted weights yesterday, hiking up and down the hills. I've done 10 miles this week so far. I did 4 on Sunday, 3 on Monday, 3 on Tuesday. I'll do another 3 or 4 today. I'm amped up, dude. I got the energy going. Lots of people out there are really supportive. I know Matt Lerma, our good friend of our show. Matt Lerma has lost 60, 70 pounds by now. He's doing an amazing job. Getting excited, man. Getting excited about life. But lots going on. Again, you can be part of the show by being part of our YouTube stream. We're also available on Facebook, but I see what you guys say on YouTube. We have Sam Salinas already in the house saying, morning, fellas. Matt Gomez is in the house. David Otwater is out here breaking news for us over here. Noah Bettis is also out there. You know what? We'll talk about that first, okay? We'll talk about Bill Land, his surprise announcement this morning that he's going to retire. Spurs announcer Bill Land, the guy that says, whoa, mama! That Bill Land is no longer going to be part of the San Antonio Spurs broadcasting. So we'll get into that. We might have Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5 with us. Might. Okay, the invitation's been put out there. It was a last-minute invitation, but he's normally on Wednesdays anyway. Hope he can jump on at any point. We're going to talk about Bill Land and the surprise retirement announcement. On top of that, kind of feel, maybe do you feel the same way, that Tony Parker was disrespected yet again yesterday? Hoops Hype released this week its top 20 point guards of all time, and where they placed Tony Parker, to me, is completely insulting. So we're going to go through that list to see exactly where he should really be. Okay, I know he's not a top 3 point guard of all time, but come on, where they had him was an absolute joke. And some of the people they had in front of him, absolute joke. On top of that, some entertainment news. You still have the hots for J-Lo. She's on the market again. She's on the singles market. That's right. J-Lo and Ben Affleck have called it quits. They have filed for divorce. We'll get into that. And Danielle Fishel, I don't know if you remember her. She was Topanga in Boy Meets World. Got some devastating health news and is now taken to social media to let people know about how they can better protect themselves. So we'll get into that as well. Again, we're going to be, guiding the show. You guys will help me when it comes to it all because, this is one of the shows that we go out there and we are responsive to your post, to what you guys have to say. And FYI, for those of you who don't know, our chat line is powered by MCS General Contracting. So again, the number is 210-774-9155. Let me get back to the chat over here. Again, with the chat over here, I can do a lot here. And again, I'm not used to doing my own shows, but there it is right there. Chat powered by MCS General Contracting. Best concrete placement business in San Antonio, in Bexar County, 210-774-9155. And again, they have their own merch as well. You know, when you go on there, you can see people reaching out already. Sith coming out and saying, Mike the Terminator Jimenez. I liked it. I had those glasses on, right? There you go. What you could have done, though, with that Photoshop is zoom out. No one looks thin at that angle that I was in. Chris Leha coming out and saying they hate Tony because he gets mad chicks. Makes sense. Sam Salinas already saying that it all makes sense now. I've been toning down because I knew J-Lo would be on the market. That's exactly it. It's still a smoke show, dude. Still stinking hot, dude. And Leha again, reminding all of us that MCS is the best in the state of Texas. That's right. Best in the state of Texas, the best state in the union as well. But lots to get into today. So the breaking news today was that the San Antonio Spurs announced that Bill Land, the longtime announcer for the Spurs, is announcing his retirement. In fact, you can go to Jeff G. Spurs Zone on Twitter and Threads to read an article about it. Bill Land, very beloved here in San Antonio. This is a guy that has been announcing games. He has that trademark "Whoa Mama" catchphrase that a lot of people have loved over the years. And Jeff G. Spurs Zone on Twitter, Jeff Garcia, our good friend, says, quote, Bill Land, longtime voice of the San Antonio Spurs television broadcast, announced his retirement ahead of the 2024-2025 season. Land's retirement follows the announcement of his diagnosis of multiple myeloma, a rare blood cancer that was discovered in 2023. Feel for Bill Land. This is a change, and I wonder who's going to be next for the Spurs when it comes to it. Maybe we can kind of give an opinion on that, because I have somebody that just kind of popped into my head. But, you know, Bill Land is somebody that's a voice. I remember back in the day, all the other voices. What was the guy with the bearded, the beard that was with the Spurs back in the 80s and 90s? All these voices that have come through, but Bill Land has been the television voice for so long. It's amazing. We have some people reaching out already. Sam Salinas saying, sad. I remember being disappointed when Joel Silver bolted to be the Lakers local guy. Bill Land quickly made me forget about Silver and how awesome he was. You know, we've had some really good catchphrases, you know, 3-point bang, you know, very, very nice. But Bill Land does a fantastic job. He has a good rapport with Sean Elliott, and apparently that's going to change now because Bill Land has announced his retirement. Again, you have to focus on your health. And Bill Land, finding out that he has cancer, kind of puts things into perspective. And he needs to focus on his health. And believe it or not, those radio broadcasts, those TV broadcasts are very, very, very stressful, because though it might be something that you do hundreds, thousands of times in your lifetime as an announcer, the fact of the matter is that it still gets your juices flowing. It still gets your blood going. And it's one of those things where you look around and you have to keep track of not only the game, but the commercials. You got to keep track of all that's going on, have the relationships with the Spurs and the coaching staff and the front office. You need to have all of that going and be entertaining, spinning a lot of plates. It's one thing to be the color analysis, you know, where you're kind of just giving your opinion as to how the game's going, like what Sean Elliott does. But the announcer of the game sets the tone. In radio, they say that there's the driver and the passenger. Bill Land was the driver of the Spurs television broadcasts. And others are saying that I was thinking of Kobe Dietrich. I wasn't thinking Kobe Dietrich. I was thinking guy with a beard. What was that guy's name? He was a bigger dude. Had a very booming voice. He was a radio guy. I remember his voice from back in the day, but the name is lost somewhere in the files in the back of my head. But man, Bill Land is gone. Dare I say the Spurs should maybe go female this time? We have somebody who lives in Bernie, who's very popular. ESPN experience. Used to co-host a show with Colin Cowherd back in the day. Should the Spurs go after Michelle Beadle? I mean, is there another name that you'd have go out there as the announcer of the Spurs? Should they maybe go that route? What would that be like to have Michelle Beadle? Because Michelle Beadle will sometimes go over there with Sean Elliott and Bill Land. She's been part of the broadcast. Now, Matt Gottman's coming out and saying Katie Goodman. I love Katie. Katie's a good friend of the show. Does a fantastic job announcing. She does it for UIW basketball. But this is this would be a big jump. Not saying that Katie couldn't do it. I'm just saying that I don't think Katie would be the number one option for the Spurs. Let's say if they were going to go female. I think that having, I think that the name of Michelle Beadle would go strong. Others are coming out and saying, Ren Jean saying that Michelle Beadle's career took a dive when she got trashed and hit on Aaron Rodgers. Ren, that's been a rumor. And in fact, she's addressed that from time to time, saying that, don't always believe what you hear on the radio. Don't always believe what you hear on TV, that could just simply be an urban legend. That she has denied that ever happening. It could have been a hit piece on her. I mean, look at what happened with Rachel Nichols back in the day. Rachel Nichols lost her job on ESPN and was accused of being anti-feminist, anti-woman, even some saying that she did something racist. And you go back in time and you look at it, and she did nothing wrong. ESPN was in the wrong, was firing Rachel Nichols back in the day. And at the time, there's some people today who still think that Rachel Nichols is a jackass for something that she didn't do. She was protecting her own job. The whole thing about Aaron Rodgers and Michelle Beadle, A, there's no proof of it. B, he denied it. C, she denied it. And D, ESPN denied it. It's just a rumor. That's all that it is. MEZ Tech saying Michelle Beadle as a play-by-play person. Get real. Stop it. Why not? It's entertainment. This isn't radio. It's entertainment. Are you saying that Spurs fans would not be excited to see Michelle Beadle out there doing her thing? This is entertainment. Okay? It's not X's and O's. The X's and O's are done by the players. That's when they go to the instant replay and you see Sean Elliott, or back in the day, Tiago Splitter, or back in the day, name any player that the Spurs have had out there. Antonio Daniels. They do the X's and O's. It is the host's job to get people excited and entertained. That's what it does. I mean, I'm not going to try to belittle what was said, but just get a catchphrase and use it every once in a while, and you're 50% of the way there. JHNSB saying Michelle isn't even funny. Beg differ. I think she does a fantastic job. Ren saying as much as he's given her crap, that he actually likes her. Midtown says ESPN fires a lot of great people. Mike, well, first of all, they got rid of Robert Griffin III this week. And RG3 was one of their best commentators over the last 3, 4, 5 years. I'm really excited about RG3 and his future. But ESPN does fire a lot of good people. They're not in the business necessarily of putting out the greatest product. So it's funny when you think about ESPN. And there's a difference between ESPN, the TV station, and ESPN affiliated radio. Okay. ESPN affiliated radio, 94.1 FM, San Antonio Sports Star, is not owned by ESPN. They're not. It's a different company. It's Alpha Media that owns them, right? The same. They also own Jack FM here in San Antonio. But the fact of the matter is that ESPN right now is operating like a lot of NBA teams. You have some NBA teams that have two superstars making $40, $45 million a year, $50 million a year. And because of the salary cap, they got nothing but like minimum salary players, right? The rest of the way. And it's like that with ESPN. They're giving all their money to Stephen A. Smith. They're giving all their money to Pat McAfee. And everybody else gets squeezed out for one reason or another. Sometimes they squeeze themselves out because they get a little too political, like Jamel Hill did and Michael Smith did back in the day. They got political on that station. They got shown the door, right? Not saying that's right or wrong, but that's what happened. So others are coming out and saying, Chris Layhouse saying, damn, didn't know there was this much dislike towards Queen Beadle. Again, we're talking about Michelle Beadle because the Spurs, the season's about to start. The NBA season for the Spurs ended in April, right around Fiesta. It ended back then. We're 4 months away, or 4 months since then, and now they have to go find someone to be an announcer for the television Spurs broadcast. That's a big deal, man, because it wasn't that, they didn't have the whole summer to go interview people and get resumes and all. I'm sure they might have people that they have in mind. But the fact of the matter is that this is a big deal. Bill Land, longtime voice of the San Antonio Spurs television broadcast, announces retirement. Again, there's an article on Ken's 5 that's coming up. Jeff G. Spurs Zone, Jeff Garcia posted this on Twitter at Jeff G. Spurs Zone. By the way, don't forget to follow Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs. He's been with our show from the get-go. More than 5,000 subscribers Jeff Garcia has on Locked On Spurs, which is amazing. Your daily content when it comes to the San Antonio Spurs. Again, don't forget, subscribe. I subscribe on YouTube. I subscribe on Spotify. Again, you can follow him on Twitter and Threads at Jeff G. Spurs Zone. Also on Kens5.com. Bill Land is out as the announcer of the Spurs. 2023, discovered a rare blood cancer. He's got to take care of his health. And lots of people already reaching out, saying that they're praying for him. King Romeo was reaching out to Jeff Garcia, saying that he's praying for him. Jay reaches out and says a well-deserved retirement. Hope he finds the best treatment for the road ahead. Hobbyist comes out and says all the strength to Bill Land during this tough time. We're going to miss him, but for him and his family, it's important for people to think about what's important now. Mike comes out and says, we need a microphone championship banner somewhere in the building, a ceremony and a fond farewell. Good luck to Bill. Jacob Eric telling Jeff Garcia, now his name belongs up there somewhere in the rafters. Really, 21 for Life says, who will replace Bill Land? He's asking the question, what about Michelle Beadle? What about Matt Bonner? Now, the whole thing about Michelle Beadle, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I just found out about this Bill Land thing like 3 minutes before the show started, right? So this is fresh in my mind. So, great minds think alike a little bit when it comes to this. But, what about Matt Bonner, the Red Rocket? Might be an interesting play. Could you see Antonio Daniels, who I believe is doing this with either Oklahoma City or New Orleans Pelicans? I think he's gone back and forth between the two. Sam Salinas and Black Bucket saying it was Jay Howard that I was thinking of. That is true, baby. That is true. Absolutely true. Jay Howard, what a legendary voice, man. That booming baritone of a voice. That was Spurs broadcasting for me growing up. July 26th saying, going to miss Bill Land, but now's your chance, Mike. Dude, I wish. I will be doing announcing for high school football this year, by the way, so I got to get going with that in the next month or so. So that's pretty exciting. So if you want to go check that out, there's a charter school called Somerset High School, which is on Vance Jackson Road. That has a pretty nice football stadium there. I'll be doing the announcing there this year. Mario Cavazos coming out and says there's always Andrew Monaco and a dude named Mike Jimenez. You know what? I should be doing like those game show react. I mean, how long is Chris Duell going to be there? Just saying. Midtown saying his favorite was Joel Myers. Hand him a fist says, apply for the job, MJ. Black Bucket also coming in saying that Myers gets his vote. Hand him a fist saying that he'll write recommendation letters for me. Appreciate it, brother. Absolutely appreciate it. My name is Mike Jimenez. Again, Joe Garcia, our producer and co-founder, co-host, is out this week again. This is his third week in a row that he's out. New job at the Department of Homeland Security. He is out of training as of Friday, officially a Fed. Excited about it. Excited about the fact that we have 1,043 subscribers here to the Alamo City Sportscast, and it's going to be big. We are going to blow the F up over the course of the next 2 months because we're the only podcast in the game in San Antonio that is doing this Monday through Friday, late mornings. Used to be us and our good friends, Rudy J and Mike Taylor in the building, but they've moved their podcast to the evenings. So which means that if you want to have some sports talk radio that's local or sports talk that's local here in town, you can go to our show, me and Joe, Alamo City Sportscast, from 10 to about 11:30. Today, we're going to go to about 11, and I hope to have Jeff Garcia on. But I'm thinking about it. Yesterday, I had a gentleman named Tim Kingsley, I believe is his name, who reached out to me and was like, dude, you have a podcast? I used to listen to your show all the time. He became subscriber 1,043, reached out to me on Facebook about it. And that's the thing. You got to let people know what we're doing. This is liking, subscribe, and also sharing with your friends, sharing with your family, sharing on social media what Joe and I are doing, because this is the people's podcast, okay? This isn't my show. This isn't Joe's show. This is your show. We do a lot of what you guys are have to mind, and we're excited about what we have going on. College football is going to get going this weekend, the first game of the year this weekend. All the teams get going the following weekend, including UTSA Roadrunners, who, by the way, ESPN says has a 16% chance of making the college football playoff. That's a 1 in 6 chance, baby. I would love for that to happen. Other news involving the Spurs, which I found to be kind of interesting. I posted this on Twitter yesterday. People are asking me right now about Steve Kerr speaking at the DNC. Not going to talk about the DNC because I try not to get political on this show. However, Little John yesterday doing the roll call for the state of Georgia was freaking classic. Okay. That had Gen X millennial vibes going right there, because it was so funny for him to go, yeah. And then dude turned down for what? And then to end it with get low. And instead of the line from the windows to the wall, the sweat drips down my balls. Instead of doing that, to go from Harris to the walls. Oh, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, or whatever. That's freaking hysterical, baby. That is hysterical. Goodness. Okay, so Hoops Hype yesterday, or this week rather, posted a list of what they consider to be the 20 greatest point guards of all time. And, you know, I'm a little bit of a Tony Parker fanboy over here. And I was looking at the list, and they, because of the number of characters that you're allowed to have on Twitter, they basically showed only the top 15. So I'm scrolling down, going, where's Tony Parker? Where's Tony Parker? And I didn't see his name in the top 15. I go into the actual article itself, and they have Tony Parker listed as the 17th greatest point guard of all time. Which, don't get me wrong, he is a Hall of Famer. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer. And here's what they said. This is according to Hoops Hype. It says the top accolades for Tony Parker include 4 NBA titles, 1 Finals MVP, 3 All-NBA second-team selections, 6 All-Star appearances, and a Eurobasket gold medal. He ranks 20th all-time in assists, 57th in scoring, and 155th in steals. It says one of the greatest European players of all time, kind of ushered in the people that, you know, the Luka Doncic's of the world and whatnot. And they had him ranked as the 17th greatest, right? 17th greatest point guard of all time. Round out the top 20. I'll get to the top 17, but the top 20, 18, they had Kyrie Irving, who's a champ, by the way. And for my money, is the greatest ball handler I've ever seen in person is Kyrie Irving. Number 19, Lenny Wilkens, not only known for his heroics as a player, but also as a coach as well. And at number 20, they have Luka Doncic, who will eventually be a top 15 at some point. So I'm looking at this list going, 17 seems a little low, man. A little low. So Sam's list asking the question, who do they put ahead of him? Okay, well, some of them are pretty well understood. Number 1, they have Magic Johnson. Is Magic Johnson the greatest point guard of all time? I would have said yes for many years, but now that I think about it, maybe not. And a lot of it has to do with the HIV infection that he has. And I mean, I remember being in high school. I think I was like a freshman in high school when that announcement was made. The dude was buying life insurance. So when they say he was doing a physical, it wasn't a physical for the team. He was doing a physical for life insurance. And they discovered that he has HIV. 5 NBA titles, 5 NBA titles, 3 Finals MVPs, 3 MVPs, 9-time All-NBA first-team selection, has a gold medal as part of the Dream Team, the greatest team ever created. Has an argument there. Number 1, they have Magic Johnson. Number 2, Hoops Hype lists Steph Curry. Remember about 6 months ago when I said that Steph Curry is going to be one of the 10 greatest players of all time in the NBA, and everyone thought it was stupid? The thread line was over here was like, you're an idiot. Steph Curry, not a top 10 player. He is. And Hoops Hype has him as the 2nd greatest point guard of all time. Number 3, the Big O, Oscar Robertson. Number 4, Jerry West. Number 5, Isaiah Thomas, who I think is criminally underrated. Should have been part of the Dream Team in '92. So if you look at these names, no way in the world do I think that Tony Parker is in the realm of any of these guys. Okay? So I'm not advocating Tony Parker being a top 5 player of all time at that position. Number 6, Jerry West. I'm sorry. Let me go backtrack here. 3, Oscar Robertson. 4, Jerry West. 5, Isaiah Thomas. 6, CP3, Chris Paul III. 11 All-NBA selections, 12 All-Stars, 7 All-Defensive First-Team selections, 2 Olympic gold medals. Doesn't do much in the playoffs, though. But he's now the Spurs point guard for this season. Number 7, they have John Stockton, who's the all-time leader in assists. He doesn't get a lot of love. A lot of people don't consider him an all-time great. Maybe it's because they think that Karl Malone was basically the same person he was feeding the entire time. But they have Stockton at number 7. Number 8, they have Steve Nash. Okay. Hold up. This is where it gets to be a little bit like, really? Whose career would you rather have? Steve Nash's career or Tony Parker's? Steve Nash with 0 rings, does have 2 NBA awards, right? Nelly Furtado did give him a shout out in Promiscuous Boy, right? Is your game MVP like Steve Nash? He's got that, right? 8 All-Star appearances, 0 NBA championships, 0 rings. Above him, CP3, right? 0 rings. Above him, John Stockton, 0 rings. This is why I think it gets a little bit weird, because how do you have Bob Cousy then at number 9? Bob Cousy had 6 NBA titles and 13 All-Star appearances. How is Bob Cousy below Steve Nash? JHNSB is coming out saying Nash, Parker, and CP3 were all about the same caliber. And you think about it, and Garrett is in the house. What's going on, Garrett? You think about it, Tony Parker could have been that guy to average 25 and 12. But he wasn't needed to do that. The same way that Manu Ginobili, you look at Manu and people go look at his stats and go, how is this guy a first ballot Hall of Famer? Well, again, it's more than just the NBA, but it's also what he's done at the Olympic level and also what he's done in FIBA. It's a basketball Hall of Fame. But the fact of the matter is that Manu Ginobili, Kobe Bryant one time said, was the greatest shooting guard that he played against. He and Dwayne Wade were the 2 that he considered to be the best shooting guards. You put Manu Ginobili on another team, guy averages 23, 24, 25 points per game. You put Tony Parker on another team, he averages 20 and 10 easily, 25 and 12 easily. It wasn't needed. They had Tim Duncan. They had good pieces around them, the Robert Ory's of the world, the Steve Kerrs. They had the Sean Elliott's, the David Robinsons, the Antonio Daniels, the Speedy Claxtons. They had so much around them throughout all the years, the Mario Ellie's, the Bruce Bowens. It wasn't needed. So whenever someone says stats are what matters, stats don't always matter, man. It really doesn't. July 26th coming out saying, I guess you got to have 0 rings to be good on this list. That's what I'm saying. Number 10, they have Jason Kidd. I love Jason Kidd, man. He got a chip. He got 1 ring. 5 All-NBA first-team selections. 10-time All-Star. 9 All-NBA defensive teams. 2 Olympic gold medals. If you're going to say that he's above Tony Parker, I'm fine with that one. Jason Kidd was legit. And now as a head coach in the NBA, amazing. 11. Okay, here's the thing. They have Tony Parker at 17. I would argue that Tony Parker is better than all 11 through 16. The glove, Gary Payton. Okay, Gary Payton did have a ring. He tried chasing a ring with the Lakers back in the day. Made 9 All-NBA selections. Defensive Player of the Year award. Great player. Number 12, Russell Westbrook. 13, Dame Lillard. 14, Walt Frazier. 15, Tiny Archibald. 16, Pete Maravich. Pete Maravich, Pistol Pete, who had 4 All-NBA selections, 5 All-Star appearances, no chips. But Tony Parker, who has 4 NBA titles, a Finals MVP, 3 All-NBA selections, 6 All-Star appearances, and 1 Euro gold medal, isn't above Pete Maravich? Out of your mind? So I'm not saying that Tony Parker belongs in the top 5. I might not even say that he belongs in the top 10, but 17 is bullshit. Sorry for the curse word. $1. Every time I cuss, I had to pay $1 into the system. Shouldn't have done that. My bad. 17, I think it's more like 12. I think it's more like 12. Midtown coming out and saying he owns a Hornets Parker jersey. Should burn that thing. I like to pretend that he was never that. Hand of a fist saying many nights Tony Parker was the best player on the floor. And for a good while there, he was the best point guard in the league. No one wants to believe it. Everyone wants to say it's Steve Nash because he was flashy. Yeah. Garrett saying it's nowadays more of a popularity thing. Hand of a fist reminding us that Pistol Pete played for crappy teams but was ahead of his time. Damn straight he was ahead of his time. If I'm not mistaken, Pete Maravich went to LSU. Sam is also saying that this list is BS, but some dumbass kid made the list, not just for Tony Parker. Whole damn list is stupid. I think they got like the top 5 correct in some order. I mean, if you want to make the argument that Steph Curry is a greater player than Magic Johnson, I think the argument could be made. I really do. Now, people are asking me about Mario Cavazos. Hey, brother, can you make me some hot wings in that air fryer in the background? Damn straight. I haven't used my air fryer in a while, dude. I typically used it a lot back in the day when, I had my kids here 7 days a week. I have my kids here 3 days a week now. Going through that divorce, it's that whole process is going through. I should be finally divorced probably early November. Have that nightmare already over. But life is getting better, man. Life is getting better. That's the one thing that I'll say. I had a friend of mine reach out to me the other day, and he was asking me about like how things are going with me and whatnot. And he goes, "Michael, I just want to check in. How you doing?" I'm like, "I'm doing great, man. Go working out. Business is doing well. Met somebody new, all that stuff, right?" And he was like, "Michael," he goes, "Man, a year ago, when I had so much going on. A year ago, not only did I get separated from my ex, lost the radio show, got laid off because I refused to take a pay cut. My business partner moved. My dog died. My favorite dog died. It all happened at one time. And my friend Howard reached out to me and was like, dude, you were a shell of yourself, man. You were depressed and you were just in shock. I had just started this podcast with Joe, and I just quickly got off of it, and I just was a miserable mess for 2 or 3 months. Went to therapy, did all that stuff. Dude, it was bad, man. It was bad times. Right now, I'm doing great, man. Doing great. I'm having fun. I'm experiencing life all over again. I'm working out a lot. I'm spending a lot of time with my kids, the 3 or 4 days that I got them per week. I'm making good money with my business. I'm traveling. I'm dating. I'm going out and found someone who thinks the world of me, which is great. Smoke show on top of that. So, but beyond all that, things are good, man. Gonna go hiking in Austin this weekend. Gonna have a blast. Might go to Barton Springs or Barton Creek or whatever they call that up there. Might go do that. Gonna check out 6th Street. Gonna go barbecue hunting down there in Austin this weekend. Gonna spend the weekend over there. Next weekend, have my fantasy drafts, stuff like that. The weekend after that, thinking about going to New Orleans to hang out with my daughter. Dude, life is good. Life is good. Tex-Mex Frank says, Mike, I'm happy for you, dude. 2 marriages and divorces under my belt. Best thing to do is to keep busy, especially with family. Garrett asked the question, is she a nugget? Mario Cavazos saying, brother is in his effing cute status. I'm not there yet. About 6-7 pounds away. But again, it's not all about weight, man, because, if you're lifting, the clothes fit better. I am wearing a shirt right now that did not fit a month ago. And my weight has fluctuated, right? The highest point it was when I was in my misery after getting separated, went down. I lost about 12 pounds, bounced back up 4, 5, or 6, came back down to that 12-point marker, bounced back up, got down to the 15-pound loss, went to 12. So I've been yo-yoing, but still lower than what it was before. Just yesterday, I hit 20 pounds. from the worst I ever was to where I am now. It took me 18 months, but the trend line is going down. And every time I get on the scale, it seems to be a little bit lower. I'm working out a lot, doing a little bit of low carb. I'm not doing no carb. I'm not doing keto. But two meals out of the day are pretty low carb, and then I have one that's relatively normal. Garrett saying he's glad I'm doing better. Charlie saying looking good, Mike. I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason. It's not something that I wish upon anybody, and it's not something that I wanted. But you play the cards that you're dealt, and at some point, therapy helps, man. I went to a therapist for anger management and for anxiety. I didn't necessarily think that I had a big anger issue, but I sure as hell had anxiety. And all of that happened at one time. My business partner leaving, my dog dying, the ex wanting a divorce, and losing my radio show all happened at one time. And it was just a lot to handle at one time. The anxiety was there. Oddly enough, my business started picking up when that all happened. And it's almost like God told me that I needed to have a win. And it ended up being my business, which blew up in a good way. I mean, I had my most successful year ever. Garrett saying, drop from 284 to 202 in 15 months, man. That's 82 pounds, man. I'm happy with just 20. Meantime, Mexican Junior saying he's binging the whole Mi Tierra sweet bread section. Nothing wrong with that, man. Midtown saying, Divorce Dudes Club, baby. We meet here at 10 o'clock, baby. We meet here at 10 o'clock to talk sports, pop culture. But, man, I have energy that I haven't had before in a while. It's weird. I went and had 2 French fries the other day, and I felt sick. Like it just didn't taste good. I got to keep it up, man. And I want to thank my friend Alex for going out and walking with me yesterday, because probably wouldn't have. I had done it the last 2 days before. He was like, hey, let's do it again. Okay, went for a 3rd day in a row. Rudy J, big inspiration for the amount of weight that he's lost. You look at the people that are around you, and I hate to say it this way. It's hard going out with family sometimes because they want to have pasta. They want to have this and the other. Yesterday, I went to Las Palapas and I had an LP Super Bowl, which is typically fajita meat with avocado slices, pinto beans, cheese or queso, and rice. I subbed out the rice. I said, hey, add bell peppers. Just give me bell peppers and onion like you have with the fajitas, right? Give me the fajita veggies, take out the rice, and instead of queso, give me some shredded cheese. I calculated it was only like 550 calories. It was freaking filling, dude. And then, trying to do like the low carb tortillas, which some of the HEBs have them, some of them don't. Sam Selena saying, yeah, you got to stay away from those fried foods. They'll make you sick or at least put you in the bathroom for some good reading time. Dude, the amount of fiber that I've had, I mean, the weight loss might actually just be me just crapping a lot of it out, man. It just is what it is. Hello, Phil saying, Taco Norteño. My cheese, no cheese, my order at Las Palapas. Love me some LP, dude. Love me some LP. I found myself doing the table for one over there. And now I just sit at the bar. And there's a Las Palapas that just got built, just opened up by my house maybe about 3 or 4 months ago. And it's nice. It's brand new. It's kind of a smaller. They have a different menu than most other Las Palapas because they have a lot of ribeye steaks and a lot of ribeye type tacos and whatever. So I go over there and I sit at the bar by myself, and I used to have like an issue with it, because I was like, man, this is so depressing. I'm separated. I'm going through a divorce and all that stuff. And, I just got over it, dude. Just got over it. Hanging out. Just hanging out with myself, man. Mexican Gio saying that over the last 5 years, he's lost about 30 pounds, bought a treadmill during COVID and never looked back. You don't have to do like everyone out there. You don't have to go and run half marathons. Just go for a walk, man. That's half it. And then when you do that, you feel like you don't want to eat like crap. That's the thing. You just work, just be active, right? And that's like my goal right now. I tell this to my friends and people the person I'm dating. I don't want to get old. Don't want to get old. So I got to be active. Las Palapas al carbone salad for the win. Damn straight, man. Damn straight. Sam Selena says, okay, now try going to the movies by yourself. Believe me, that is one of the best things ever. I do that every time I get a chance. That was an episode of Modern Family, right? When they're, or no, you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about the movie Knocked Up, when Paul Rudd goes to the movies by himself and his wife thinks that he's cheating on her, and turns out that he's at the movies, he's doing fantasy baseball, right? And she's like, this is even worse. This is even worse than you cheating on me. This is you going out by yourself and just wanting to be alone. Even worse. Midtown saying that he met a lot of people when he first got divorced. Would go around everywhere. Speaking of divorce, did you see in entertainment news, J-Lo is on the market again. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have called it quits yet again. Jennifer Lopez, who's now in her mid-50s, is going to be single again. It's funny because if you look at J-Lo, and they had just been together for 2 years. They dated originally back in the early 2000s. They broke up. She ended up getting married. He ended up getting married, doing all these different things. She breaks up with Alex Rodriguez. 20 years later, they rekindle that relationship. They get married, which was weird because Ben Affleck went from Ana de Armas, the biggest smoke show in Hollywood right now, to J-Lo, who, don't get me wrong, is still very beautiful. But Ana de Armas is like in her mid-30s, and J-Lo is like in her mid-50s. To me, he went in reverse. He went in reverse big time for them. Got people coming out and saying, good for Ben. The memes are hilarious, Hen of a Fist says. Midtown reminding us that she has a lot of miles on the odometer at JHNSB, saying she'll be married again soon. She collects rings, dude. She is the Tom Brady, the Patrick Mahomes of ring collecting. That's just what she does. She loves to be in love. And to be honest with you, I don't care. I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily. But eventually you find your one, right? Eventually you do. So Ben Affleck, have you ever seen him speak Spanish? Go to YouTube and look up Ben Affleck speaking Spanish. He lived in Mexico for a while. He is fluent in Spanish. So he has this affinity. He and Matt Damon are both fluent in Spanish. They both lived in Mexico at some point in their lives. Matt Damon has a wife that was, I believe, a bartender at one point, and from Argentina. You saw that Ben Affleck dated Ana de Armas from Cuba, Spanish background as well. J-Lo, who's Puerto Rican but probably doesn't speak Spanish. Go look up Ben Affleck, and it's so funny because Ben Affleck goes out there and he speaks Spanish, and his whole demeanor changes, his voice changes. He starts using his hands, it's like Senor Chang on Community saying Spanish is half about speaking with your hands. It's so funny, dude. It's so funny. Mario asked the question. The question is, would you rather J-Lo or Kim Kardashian? Ooh, man. Back in the day, Kim K was no joke, dude. No joke. I would say Kim K. And my mind is telling me no, but my body. Yeah, I'll go with Kim K on that one. I had to think about that for a while. Got to take a photo real fast of the screen. Very nice. Mario Jr. coming out and says Ana de Armas is super hot, especially in the Roberto Duran movie, Hands of Stone. It's worth seeing it just for her. Dude, okay, first of all, Ana de Armas, I first saw and had her as my celebrity crush about 8 years ago when no one knew who she was. No one knew who she was. She was the hot girl in War Dogs with, oh my God, I forgot their names, but War Dogs is a great movie, right? Jonah Hill was in that movie. She played the girlfriend of one of the guys. And I was like, whoever that woman is stellar, smoking hot. Whoever that girl is. Then she blew up. She became a Bond girl. She was in that movie with Ben Affleck. That's how they met. She's a cochina in that movie. She's basically naked in every movie. So big ups and props to Ana de Armas. She's smoking hot. But Ben Affleck went from that. He went from Jennifer Garner to Ana de Armas to J-Lo, and had J-Lo before. Ben Affleck is all over the place, man. Bit of a hoe, but I like it. I respect it. Hannah Fist saying Ben and Matt are government agents, bro. They've got to be. Locked on Spurs, Jeff Garcia saying that he's picking J-Lo. Do you know what it is? I just don't like J-Lo's attitude. She just looks like she's a complete B, dude. I just don't like her at all. Kim Kardashian is probably stuck up, true, but I think slightly better personality, maybe a little bit funnier. But back in the day, man, 1 and 1A doesn't matter. Sam Salinas saying that Ben Affleck celebrates diversity in women. Damn straight he does. Hey, everyone had a crush in the 90s on our girl, Danielle Fishel. Danielle Fishel, best known as Topanga in Boy Meets World, discovered that she has breast cancer. She was doing an annual mammogram, made the announcement yesterday on Instagram about it all, and she said that she was making the announcement so that other people got tested. Apparently, hers was discovered super fast, like stage, whatever the lowest stage is, maybe even below the lowest stage possible. So she should be okay. They say that based on where she's at, her life expectancy or being able to survive that is about 99%. So the sooner you discover, the better it is, especially if you have people in your family who have a history of that. But I'm glad to see Danielle Fishel, who still out there acting, still doing she did the reboot of Boy Meets World. She does a lot of like the holiday movies and things like that. Everyone loved Topanga. She was all of our crushes, even to this day. She's amazing. Tex-Mex Frank saying the Cowboys camp hotel caught fire. Let me see about that. Let me see here. Speaking of the Cowboys, I was checking out RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys. And someone was reaching out to him on Twitter saying that maybe it's not Jerry Jones's fault that CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons haven't signed their extensions yet, or they haven't been offered an extension yet. But he points out something interesting. He says, you know what? It's beyond all that. It was Amari Cooper. It was Tank Lawrence. It was all of these players leading up to this. And the only common denominator is Jerry Jones, right? So let me see. Cowboys fire. Is that new? Is this a new thing? Yeah, it says Cowboys conducted a walkthrough. It's Calvin Watkins from DFW saying Cowboys still conducting their walkthrough practice as fire departments finish up. A fire started before 5 o'clock local time that was contained to just one room inside the Cowboys hotel. Mike Leslie of WFAA, the ABC affiliate, says there's a fire at the hotel where the Cowboys stay for training camp, and firefighters on the scene. Cowboys say that the fire was in one building, in one room. No one was hurt. The team is continuing practicing as this is happening. So weird. Big news of the day is the fact that Bill Land, longtime announcer for the San Antonio Spurs television broadcast, has announced that he is not going to be doing it this year. I guess it's a retirement of sorts. He did have a blood cancer that was discovered in 2023, as reported by Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5. We were trying to come up with who should this person be. There are a lot of people who just don't want a woman to be the broadcaster for any sports. Like, I love Doris Burke. I think Doris Burke does a fantastic job. There's a new girl on ESPN, African-American woman. She's very, very young, former WNBA player. She is really good. She is really good. But the big name that's in San Antonio, I mean, hello, she already lives here, is Michelle Beadle. And I don't see why Beadle wouldn't get that call up, even if it's temporarily, even if it's for the preseason games. Again, the season ended back in April. We are less than 2 months away from the start of the NBA regular season. We're about 6 weeks away from the start of preseason, maybe less than that. Why not Michelle Beadle? She did the women's one, right? When they did the women's night, when it was her and Katie Goodman. I think Carolina Teague was part of it as well. And Isabella from one of the Spanish stations. Mexican Junior saying he's going to miss the whoa mama on the broadcast. That's what people should do. We should stitch along our renditions of that. Mario Cavasso saying towards Jeff Garcia about Keldon Johnson looking like he's lost weight because he's doing all the boxing training with Jesse James Leha. Garrett from the Netherlands saying Michelle Beadle would be perfect. She's from San Antonio. UTSA grad, Michelle Beadle. Sam Selena says, controversial take here, but hear me out. The problem with female broadcasters is that they either try too hard to sound like a man or they act like bimbos. There's no in between. It's a controversial take, probably a bad take, but it's a controversial take. I'll give you that. There's some people who just don't want to give them a chance. You know, I have no problem at all. No problem at all. And I just look at what she brings to the table. A, she's from here. B, she's already part of the Spurs community. C, she's already done Spurs broadcasting before. Why not Michelle Beadle? Why not? And there's some people out there who don't want Becky Hammon to be a head coach in the NBA. There's just some people who just don't want females in the locker room. We've seen that before. I mean, Harrison Bucker from the Kansas City Chiefs who got his extension. It's a piece of crap, right? But the fact of the matter is that there are women who like sports. And on top of that, if you go to NFL games, you're going to see when you go to the turnstiles at NFL games, it used to be a bunch of dudes over there at NFL games. But right now, you're seeing that women are more and more going to the turnstiles. In fact, NFL released a study saying that 48% of people who go to NFL games are women. 48%. And that that women spend more money than men on average whenever they're out there shopping for merch. So that's why the boxy uniforms that you see a lot have changed. That Kyle Juszczyk's wife from the 49ers has gone out and has put certain styles and certain types of female-friendly clothing out there right now in NFL.com. It's a big deal. I personally think that if you have a problem with a woman as a broadcaster, it's more of a you problem than a them problem. Okay? They can do a good job. Our girl Katie Goodman does broadcasting for UIW and does a fantastic job. Shonik's son does a fantastic job. I used to work with him over at Samsung Sports Star. Does a fantastic job doing UIW as well. But again, that is the big news of the day. Now tomorrow, I don't know if we're going to have a show tomorrow. We're going to try to have a show tomorrow. More than likely, if we do have a show, I will not be hosting. I've reached out to a couple of people to see if they want to take the wheels because I had that dental procedure yesterday, and they came back and they said, you need to have part 2 of it tomorrow. So I still don't know what time I'm going to go in, but they said they're going to schedule me in for tomorrow. So if I do have it scheduled for tomorrow, I might have to miss the show. FYI. Matt Gomez coming out saying, bro, speaking of UTSA and UIW women's soccer was amazing on Sunday. Great turn of from the other sports students. It's amazing. It's a big turnout. That's awesome. I went to you go to these games that are not as heavily advertised or as heavily watched. I had fun this year at a Texas State UTSA baseball game at UTSA. That was pretty fun. By the way, KSAT is reporting that Bernie Little League is to face undefeated Henderson in a Little League World Series showdown. It is today at 2 p.m. So good luck to the Little Leaguers over there from Bernie. They've done a fantastic job. And oddly enough, you can go to BetUS and DraftKings and whatnot, actually bet on the game if you wanted to. Bet on those 12-year-olds. But good luck to Bernie's team. Going to have a fantastic time watching that game. Again, 2 p.m. first pitch on ESPN. Joe Gomez will be back next week. We're going to have on Friday Fernandez on. We're going to, we like to go with Rick Fernandez to talk about sports, pop culture, nostalgia. We'll obviously get into some Spurs talk, but we'll need to get in some NFL talk as well. Cowboys, Texans starting to make their cuts right now. Hard Knocks getting really exciting. So I'm super excited about that. We have a lot to get into on Friday. Tomorrow's show up in the air, 50-50. I'll post on Twitter whether or not it's going to happen. But we're going to wrap the show up. Everyone have a fantastic day. And don't forget, also, by the way, if you want to show me some love and show the station some love, you can always, do the super chats and whatnot. We had one earlier today. But again, If you want to send me some business, keep me in business. My number is 210-508-0369. Financial accounts, whether they be investments, rollovers, 401k, IRA, life insurance needs, disability needs. If you have a business that needs benefits, whatever the case may be, 210-508-0369. I've been in business for 19 years and would love to have some more business. Reach out to me. I've had that cell phone number since I was 17, 210-508-0369. Again, don't forget, Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs at Jeff G Spurs Zone. You can join on Spot. You can subscribe on Spotify and on YouTube. And our good friends at MCS General Contracting, 210-774-9155 for the best concrete placements business you can find. Charlie Hernandez saying, Mike had to contact you, Mike, for some financial advice. Mike, do it. 210-508-0369. I expect a text from you in the next 15 minutes. 210-508-0369. Sam Flynn saying, good show. We're keeping it to an hour until Joe gets back. But thank you to Pledger for keeping me company the other day. Anyway, it's going to be a fun day today. I'm going to be out. Going to go to the Spurs Club right now for a work lunch, sporting a polo shirt that is both old and new. Going from double XL to single XL, and I will say this, I'll never go to just regular L. I like having a husky body, just a slimmer husky body. That's all that it is. Everyone have a fantastic day, and don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. We'll be back hopefully tomorrow. Charlie, give me a call, baby. 210-508-0369.